right, so there's a distinction between a debt discharge and a debt paid. When discharged, the debt still exists though divested of its character as a legal obligation during the operation of the discharge. Something of the original vitality of the debt continues to exist, which may be transferred, even though the transferee takes it subject to its disability incident to the discharge. So what they're saying, if you discharge a debt, it doesn't necessarily go away. That debt is still can be collected on. They can pass it on. They can assign it to someone else. So you don't want to do discharge. It's basically what this is saying. You want to be able to extinguish the debt completely, where they're not coming back to you for it. And the only way to do it is to organize your estate properly. And we're going to show you the steps of what you need to do. All right. The fact that it carries something which may be a consideration for a new promise to pay, so as to make an otherwise worthless promise a legal obligation, makes it the subject of transfer by assignment. This is why when people are trying to discharge, they'll ignore you and still collect. And I can tell you this has been my experience. Now, this is something I did to a car I had purchased. I had a note on some years ago when I was trying to play around with different methods of discharge. I went in on the account electronically, figured out what my account number through my Social Security was, put in those numbers, and paid the debt in full. It lasted for 2 weeks and it came back. But here's the interesting thing about it. When it came back, it never hit my credit report again. Although they kept calling me for the money and wanted the money and threatened to take the car if I didn't make the payments. That car to this day is not showing that I paid off that car or did anything. And reading this definition helps me understand why. I did not extinguish the debt. I discharged it, but I didn't get the obligation off of me. So therefore, we got this payment by way of discharge through the Social Security number. But hey, this guy don't know what he's doing. We're going to still hang him up and get the money anyway. This is why if any of you have ever done discharge the other ways where you make the money or as a minimum, they'll keep that money order, never send it back, but still want you to keep the money. Can anybody on here agree with what I just said? Have that same experience? I know there's a couple of people on here, at least 2 people on here have had that experience. Right? And they'll act like they don't even say that they received a bad check. They just ignore it. Am I right or wrong?
True.
Right. So that means there's something to that process. It's just not complete. It's something missing that you don't know and they know you don't know. So they'll just come back. Because of course they're not going to want the whole public to become aware. If everybody was able to just write these money orders and send it to these people, it would shut their whole system down. So they like discharge. They love it when people get on the internet and claim you can discharge because they're getting free money. They're making millions of dollars every year off of people sending in these instruments and then ignore them. You never hear from them again. I've come to I believe that when you see these people on the internet and they get these huge followings out of it, y'all look at my videos. I know I got a lot of followers, but I don't get a lot of views, or it doesn't show I get a lot of views. But these other people come out of nowhere and they got thousands of views. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Huh? They get thousands of views teaching this stuff. And then after a while, maybe 7-8 months, they disappear. No one has got remedy at all. They never come back and say no one got remedy. They just disappear. I believe that's them putting people out there to lure people in to do these discharge processes so they can keep those instruments. You're putting more money.
I called one out.
Huh?
I called one out on Instagram. There's a woman just showing them at the dealership with on the car and all this. I said, I know you're an agent. I know for a fact you're an agent, but you.
All right. It is Truth Tuesday with your host, Akeem L, here on Hindsight Radio, in conjunction with the Church of Infinite Abundance and Akeem Private Church. What you were listening to right there was the discharge webinar that I did this past Saturday. Quite a few people supported the cause and they learned a lot of stuff. Funny thing is, I sent out the invitation for the discharge seminar coming up in this month on the 21st, Saturday in Atlanta. The flyer's right there. There it is. Courtyard, Atlanta, 133 Carnegie Way. We talked mainly at this webinar about discharge, and actually showed the 1099 templates and went in why you do it this way. We showed the trust that are required. All of that stuff we went through. And you know what the funny thing is? The funny thing about the whole thing, the discharge, they teach you how to do it on it. If you read the instructions of the 1099, the instructions is right there on what needs to be done. But no, people want to listen to their friends and people they believe are telling the truth about stuff. The thing that gets me, people are willing to try stuff that people who are teaching them have not even done it themselves or even shown any proof of it. But it makes sense to me, so I think it'll work. Well, if it's that good, someone should be able to come forward and say it worked. I mean, at least one person. Never happens that way. And I believe the reason why people are so easily caught up is because their mindset is so in this place of getting something for nothing. They're willing to just overlook common sense in order to do it. I had that mindset at one point until I woke up and said, what are you doing, man? Go out there and just make your money and just pay those things. You did enter into a contract, right? I mean, there's people just stressing themselves out trying to get around this, what we call the system, and no further along than they was when they started. Actually, they behind. They behind the 8 ball. That's what happens when you start playing with your mortgage, right? You get into foreclosure, it starts building up on you. The only way you're going to come out of foreclosure is a modification. Then they're going to take all that back money you didn't pay and put it on the back of that loan. And now you right back where you started with a 30-year plus mortgage starting over. Messing with these gurus. And I can tell you in the method that we are teaching, you have to be in honor in order for it to work. You have to be making those payments. Anyway, I ain't going to get into all of that. Listen up. 10/21/23, 9 a.m. to 5, discharge seminar. There you go. Student loan discharge, car loan discharge, mortgage discharge. 1099A, 1099C, trust grants for nonprofits. There's going to be someone there who's an expert on that, and business funding. I'll see you guys there in person in Atlanta. I'm looking forward to it. So let's see who's in the chat. Discipleship Ministry said, peace, brother. Corinne says, happy Tuesday, everyone. Back at you in La Vida. Is waving high. In La Vida, what is that? That is a Spanish, that's a Spanish phrase, isn't it? Live in La Vida. Okay. Interpret that for me. I think I know it, but I don't want to mess that up. DJ B Thunder. Evening, everyone. Oh, beginning available with a question mark. I'm not sure what you mean by beginning available. Peace and love, everyone. See, DJ B, he was on. He said 5-hour webinar was well worth it. I know it wasn't supposed to be that long, but I am happy I took advantage of it. Yes, sir. It was a long webinar because we had to take a break. Al had to, do something with the family. His girls was competing in something, so he didn't get on to 2:00. So I went until 1:00. Took a break for an hour. We came back. He still wasn't on. He didn't get on till like 2:30. So I played one of his old videos that he covered on trust, and then he came in and he broke it all down. Space Mind says, I'm late. I missed everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can always go back and watch the recording. And that webinar is going to be up for sale once I send it off to be edited. Omar L says, peace, God. Peace back to you, God. Greetings, family. All praise Yah. He said, I love to be in ATL seminar, but I work on Saturday. Oh, man, take the day off. Supposed to be quitting them jobs anyway, man. No, that particular webinar would not be in the portal because basically you already have the information in the portal. I made this webinar because some people will not invest in doing the membership. So I made that webinar available mostly to people who don't want to get in the membership, don't want to be a part of the family. So you already have, if you're in the membership, you have that information for the most part. Yes. Only thing you don't have is when I taught on, I'll show you. I will show you what you don't have. You see that little, that's Black's Law's Dictionary, 3rd edition, talking about discharge. That's what you probably won't get that. And I'm gonna upload that into the membership so you can read that. Oh, let's see. It's on Keynote. It is right there. If you notice number 13, that's proof of a discharge right there. So, so that's pretty much, we trying to get it to people, help them get their affairs in order. Put that up in the corner there. So someone sent me an email. I sent out invitation for the webinar, for the seminar. Oh, send me proof. I need to see proof. I was like, well, if you watch my shows consistently, you would have seen proof many times. Or if you were in my membership, you would see proof. You'd actually talk to the live living people who are part of the membership. Hang on, somebody is trying to, I don't know how to do this. Someone wants the link, and I don't, because I'm not on YouTube to do anything. Let me just people see what happens is people don't watch for a while, they lose contact. They lose contact, and then I need the link. Hey, man, just go on YouTube and type in my name or type in Hindsight Radio. It's not hard to find. She says, okay, that means in live. Okay. That means in live. Sorry, I don't speak English. Oh, that's fine. You don't have to apologize. I just wanted to know what it means. You're in live. Thank you for the explanation. Oh. Okay, it says Al gave a huge update on them forms that was different from the other recordings used for me anyway. Yeah, he did. Well, those forms change all the time. So you got to keep them updated. And then Son of One True King said, greetings, King. In La Vida translates in life. Okay, in English. That is the channel that talks about that. In life, things happen. It was started by my wife. Oh, since that's your... Oh, okay. So that's one of your people. Okay, I need to go to the channel then. And subscribe. Yeah. What did I do here? Yeah. I'll go to check it out. Oh, I like to support. So yeah, let me see proof. If it's the proof is that I've always consistently tried to, or have, showed proof of what I do. You judge a tree by the fruit it bears, right? If it bears good fruit, then that's a good tree. If it bears bad fruit, that's a bad tree. The Bible, I don't have to go to the Bible to talk about that. We know that. And you could take that and put that in context with your own life. If you are not getting what you desire, you're not happy with things going on in your life, then there's a bad tree somewhere in your midst. And the tree is in your head. There's bad information in there. You're identifying with bad things. You're identifying with things that are giving you unpleasant experiences. So the first tree you need to check and maybe cut down is that negative tree that you have allowed to sprout in your brain or in your mind. A lot of us want to believe that our mind is inside of this organic thing, right? That's where our mind is. But what if I told you your mind is not there at all? That brain is just a processor. It's either true or false. It takes information and okay, this is what we need to do. It's basically organic mechanical. Your mind is an energy field that surrounds you about 6 inches in front of you. It's the shield of energy that's why you can come close to people and you start picking up vibes, because you're picking up that energy. That's why when you can take your hand and put it here and you can kind of feel it, not just heat, but you can feel some type of energy surge. Like, see, I can feel that energy surge. That's your what you call spiritual radar. See, we so identifying with what we can see and think that's it. It's what you see is not it. What you see is the end result of your thoughts, of your mind. That's the end part. That's the end game. Okay? What you're seeing is the result of the manifestation of your consciousness. You see? So, if you can disconnect from what you can see and just concentrate on what you can't see, and that's how manifestation happens. That's how you bring about those things that you desire. They know better than to call me at that time. You see? All of the things you're experiencing in the physical realm is coming from a projection, almost like a camera projects onto a screen. When you watch a movie, there's a camera. You go to the movie, there's a movie projector overhead that's projecting onto that screen. So they put a reel in and they project it out there. And that's what you're doing every day. You are a walking, talking projector of everything that you're experiencing. Wherever you focus your attention on. The science now says matter, I want to say this right. Like, let's just say this is my guitar tuner, right? If I'm not looking at it or focus on it, it's not solid. That's what they're saying. It only becomes back into a solid form once I focus on it. I look away out of my field of vision. They're saying that it becomes immaterial. That's what they're saying. But I'm not looking. I'm sorry. I was like, I saw Dax calling me. What? Something's going on. I must hit this button over here. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, thanks. I got it. Said Mike was muted. My bad. How long was it? Must have been muted for a minute. Now I gotta go repeat all of that stuff. Yeah, I hit this when I messed with this thing over here. I must have hit the mute button. What I was talking about, basically, was people have a different concept of God. And there's no way. What? Somebody tell me, where did I leave off when it got muted? Hit me back. Let me see. 7:35. So it looked like it was about a few minutes. Oh, okay. From there. So I'm about to get into the object. What I was saying about the object, looking at the object makes it real. Science is saying that these things that we call matter don't become solid until we focus on it. So it has to be by way of touch too. But I'm not totally sold on that. But what I was saying was, I believe that when people have bad situations or good situations, it all comes from their thought process. So those things become, whatever you are focusing on, it becomes real for you once you start to place your attention on it. So let's just say you get into some trouble. Car accident. That means that somewhere in your consciousness, you draw that to you. So that you can have the experience. You know how people do. They'll sit there and think about, well, what if this happened and this, and then guess what? You start dwelling on that very thing will happen. Now you have a mess. I can tell you, a lot of people are doing things like they don't want to subscribe to having driver's license credentials or license plates. They don't want to do that. That's fine, right? But I've been doing this a long time. And when people end up getting in problems for that, that means somewhere in their consciousness, they were hoping to run into that problem so they could see that their process works. And then they get into it. And they'll know right then and there whether it works or not. See, that's the consciousness is constantly searching for the truth. Constantly. You're always looking for the truth in whatever you're doing. So if you find yourself in a bad situation, all you're doing is trying to find the truth in that situation. You're trying to learn something from it. That's why I've come to the realization that I stopped trying to really, when you see people caught up in bad situations, sometimes you have to leave that stuff alone. Now, a lot of times you need to, because you get in there and that energy jump on you. Some people just got to walk through their own problems. That what the Buddhists would say, karma. A lot of us are trying to prevent people from living out their own karma. Right. That is something in their consciousness that they wanted to make real and wanted to experience. I know, oh no, I don't want bad experience. Yes, you do. And here's why you do, because you keep doing things that bring you bad situations. So that means you want the bad situation. No, that's not what I expect. Yes, you did expect that. Own it. What do you mean by expected? Because your mind was focused on it and you thought about it until you manifested it into your reality. You have fear of it, or you have anxiety over it. No, that's not true. Yes, it is true. Listen, there's nothing that you're experiencing right now that you didn't ask for. Nothing. It's just you're at whatever you're experiencing, you desired it in some form or fashion, whether it was a desire for it to come to you or a desire for it to get away from you. So the only way to prevent to have these negative experiences is not put your mind on it at all. Don't even entertain it. See, we entertain stuff. You have people who watch the news all the time, entertaining all of that drama that supposedly is going on around the world. I'm at the point where I believe some of that stuff is AI generated news. I think some of them news people ain't real. What you seeing is images, or maybe even pre-recorded. You can go to any state and watch the news, and it's pretty much the same monotones that they use for every segment, whether it be the weather, current events, international. It's the same tone in any state, any station. That means they're all working off the same script, trying to influence people on a mass scale. They are influencing people. Is people still walking around here covering their mouth up? COVID's been long gone. Or, well, they say it's still around, but it ain't that serious. But what's going on? I mean, not just this morning I was driving my son to the truck, and guys standing at this, it's early morning hours, by itself at the bus stop, nice, fresh, cool air, and he got a mask on. So what's going on in his mind? What's going on in this person? They believe that they'll get sick if they don't have that on. And guess what? They'll get sick. If they take that mask off, they will get sick. And they believe it. I knew it because I took that mask off and boom, I got it. See, the sickness is not coming from anything out there. The sickness is coming from the simple belief that you can get sick with this stuff. And it's going to be bad for you. If you could grasp that concept, that right there will kill a big part of your illnesses. People believe in these things. Yeah, the brainwashing is real. The brainwashing is real. So what I was saying about the mind, I was talking about God and people's concept of God. I think in that little 5 minutes where I was muted. People believe that they have what I was saying, there's no such thing as everyone has the same God. And here's why. Because two people could go to the same church every day, or whenever church is in session, and both of those people will have a different concept of who God is, although they're learning in the same place about God. So is there a universal God that exists for everyone? No. There is a individualized God that exists for everyone, because my concept of God is going to be different from your concept of God. This is why people are fighting over God. Well, no, the Bible says this. This is right. You're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. because they're struggling to do the impossible. This has been happening for decades, centuries, where people are fighting over concepts of God. That means that, yeah, what I believe is true for me, but it may not be true for you. So all we need to do is respect each other's space when it comes to what we believe about God, and stop trying to force our beliefs of God onto other people. Because my truth about God is solely my personal relationship through my personal experience with God. I'll share them with you, but I'm not sharing with you because I want you to believe like me. And that's the problem. This is what led to a lot of groups of people coming from other places into different countries calling people heathen. And because they wasn't Christian, they wasn't thought of as human beings. They wasn't thought of as someone who you should have compassion over. I was watching a video. It's a woman, I forgot her name. She's been around a while, and she was showing a picture of a man of color being hung. And then it showed all of these folks standing around, white folks were standing around watching, and it was a little girl in the picture just looking at it like it was another day at the park. So the point she was trying to make is that look at this little girl, and she asked this question, which is a very profound question. She said, if this little girl, if that was a dog hanging up there, she would be horrified by that. So how does this young girl get to the point where she can watch a person hang from a tree being burned, basically alive? And by the way, that's where the term barbecue comes from. I just want y'all to know that. So y'all using that term barbecue, that's where it comes from. All right. Okay. So how she can watch that and not feel any emotion because she was socially conditioned to believe that that man wasn't the same as her. See? So now these are the same people that go to church, was going to church every Sunday or whenever they chose to go to church. So because they had a religious belief and their belief was to project their belief onto other people, and if they didn't have the same belief, they wasn't deserving of compassion, love, or respect. This is why you cannot force your religious beliefs onto other people, because it's not your place to do it. It's everyone's place is to find their journey back to their source or to the source. It's their own journey. And the journey has many roads. And if I'm being honest, I've come across more Muslim people, which, you know, of course, if you watch the news, these people are extremists, so-called extremists. They were more hospitable to me than a Christian has ever been. Invite me into their home, want to feed me. You know, I come to turn on the internet. I tell a story all the time. Turn the internet on, turn their cable on. And they want me to take your time, brother. Sit down, eat with us. What's your name? And I say Akeem. That way their eyes get big. Oh, Akeem, brother. Now I'm all of a sudden I'm brother just because of my name. They don't know me. They don't know my family. But because I have that name, I became brother. But then my so-called Christians who are of the same faith as me at the time, I want you to put that jack in that jack. How long this gonna be? When my first bill? Just rude. So I've been around. And yes, there are great people who are Christians as well. But if I want to go off just my experiences, I'll sit a bunch of Muslims. I'll hang out with a bunch of Muslims any day. I'll feel safer with them. I just got to keep it real. Okay? And the reason why I feel safer because they live by a code of, they have a code of conduct. They have what you call, to me, a sense of family, that what we have long lost, and brotherhood camaraderie. And I don't know, if you go to one and you ask for help, they will help. And go above him. Hey, come on, let's go. This is how you do it. Don't mind. Whereas in this Western culture, this Christianized culture, we're always looking at each other with competition in our minds. Now, I'm telling you all of that because as a Christian, we say they're wrong. They're going to die on God's judgment day if they don't be one of the Christians. Right? But when I read the Bible or read the Quran and I read other religious texts, these people are more in line with what those texts are than any Christian on any day. Figure that one out. And I'll tell you, the answer is easy. Because the average Christian mindset is a distorted concept of who God really is. And this is why. See, I said in the beginning, you judge a tree by the fruit it bears. And what does this tree have? What did it bear? That's why I say people's concepts of God and what God is distorted, and it's caused them to condemn, judge, and hurt people just because they don't have the same belief system. Right? So no, I don't believe that everyone is worshiping the same universal God. I believe they're worshiping a form of God that they have conjured up in their minds based on their experiences. Yeah, the brainwashing is real, bro. See, it was the ones who come holding the Bible in their hand, but yet they had a knife in the other hand that you got to watch out for. Remember, who killed who? According to the scriptures about Christ, who killed him? His own people. His own people. They tried to get the Pontius Pilate to join in. He was like, man, I got nothing to do with this. Y'all. He let them condemn him according to their law. And they took Christ in front of a foreign court to condemn him. And these were supposed to be the religious leaders of the day, who was supposed to be guiding and directing people in the way of God. So what God was they worshiping? See, that's what I'm saying. And the people that followed them, what God was they worshiping? That's why when you talk about God, it's a tricky subject. I can only give someone a concept of God that I experience. No one will ever have the same experience with God as I have. It's unique. So all I can do is share the experience, but I can't make you have the experience. I can't give you, this is what you're supposed to have. No, because you got your own experience. Some of y'all are ready to receive a real experience with God. The only reason why you can't have it is because you're too convoluted with someone else's concept of who God is. And you won't never have an experience, a true experience with God, until you let go of that. Yeah, what I'm saying, you have to let go of some of those Sunday school teachings, some of those old pastors that came into your life and you allowed into your life to tell you what was right and wrong. You have to let that go. One of the main things I tell people when they really get into problems is they need to focus on their spiritual nature, their spiritual side, and connect that way. That's where the answers come. The stuff I teach and the stuff I learned, yes, I get information of other people to put to bring a completeness to what I teach, but most of it comes from my direct connection with spirituality. And I've been doing this so long, it's a second nature to me. Now I'm trying to make it first nature instead of second. I'm still working on it being first nature. When I go from a spiritual point of view and I just really go, a lot of times what happens is I don't have to do anything. All I do is sit back and observe and let the situation work itself out. You'll start to see that in your own life. If you start to put spiritual things first, you start meditating and asking for truth from whatever God you serve or believe in, and you just stand still. You ever heard that saying, stillness? That's true. That's why the Bible tells you to go off into your secret place. There I will be. The truth is there. It didn't say go do something. It said go off and receive a spiritual connection. Then you can see the vision of the path that you need to take. And then physically you can walk into that path. Meditation is a way of directing and controlling how your life is going to turn out. Or making it turn out the way you want it to be. Or now the big thing is manifesting what you want. That's what meditation is for. Don't you know Christ had to meditate all of that just to go through the whole process of being accused and put in jail and then eventually tortured, then put to death? You think he just walk in there and do that? No, he had to meditate and practice that. He had to practice and visualize and say, okay, I know what I'm about to go through. And then he was able to go through it in the physical world. Shortly before it all happened, he was meditating. His disciples were falling asleep. What do you think he was meditating on? To have the strength to go through it. He already knew what was happening. He already knew what the purpose, why he was there. He visualized it. He had to visualize that over and over before it manifested itself. He prepared himself. So if you guys want to have success in the things that you do, you got to visualize that. Live through it, experience it in your consciousness first, and then it manifests into the 3D or the physical realm. Nothing gets here before that. A lot of people say, oh, unforeseen occurrences. Oh, no, there's no such thing. Trust me, it was foreseen somewhere, somehow. Okay? Says, asked him who was God before someone gave you the idea of God. Right. Who was he? We all experienced that, right? We didn't know anything about what God was and what will be until someone told us what it was. We call it, as parents, now we call it teaching our children and bringing them up in the way of the Lord. But how do we know what we're bringing them up in is right? How do we know? How we know. Look at your life. How good is it? There's your fruit of all your labor. See, we're sitting here trying to teach children and teach other people, and we ain't even got our stuff together. Like you said, Omar said, it definitely is all spiritual. It is 100%. But just like anything, you got bad spiritual and you got good spiritual, right? But it's all coming from the spiritual realm. See, some people think, oh, I'm spiritual and that just makes you good. No. Listen, everything has a plus and a minus. For everything to work, there's a negative and there's a positive. For the electricity that I'm using, there's a negative and a positive side to it. Why do we have these contrasts? These contracts is what keep things working. You have to understand what's negative in order to appreciate what's positive. Because I can guarantee if you go through enough bad experiences, you'll be begging for some good ones, and you'll start visualizing some good ones, and then you'll start, I don't want to even think about these, and then now you're having good times. That's how we experience our existence in its totality. People have to learn how to move in the 3D room with the Lord. Yes. 3D realm is, maybe that's what you were trying to say, I think. So there you have it. Oh, I think the title was about getting rid of those student loans. Well, I wanted to talk about the student loan. Hey, listen, October 1st was the deadline. They were going to start sending out those notices for y'all to pay them student loans. Y'all don't have to do that. All you got to do is go to akemail.com and get that webinar I did on student loans. I preached it all summer long. And people bought it. But they're going to be buying a lot of it now. Because them payments about to hit. They want their money. Let me change that. They want money. It ain't their money. Let me give y'all a hint. Student loans is the biggest scam out there. Because you go to get this loan, you sign these promissory notes, most of them now electronically. You don't meet with anybody like you do in the old days. And they take that loan, bundle it up, sell it off to the banks. The bank pass it on. The people who is collecting from you is not people that you ever took a loan out with. So the law states that you only have to pay who you took the loan out with. Anybody else is a third party intervener. And who is putting it on your credit? It's not the person you took the loan out, it's some servicer. Do you understand that is against the law for them to put that on the credit if you have no contract with them? But nobody challenges this stuff. See, the question is not whether you owe anything. The question is, who is it that's asking you for the money? Did you set up anything with them program? That's why they send y'all letters. Hey, you can have easy access to your loans. Just go into this online portal. That is a soft way of getting you into a contract by going into those online portals. They send you a PIN number. You ain't asked for no PIN number. They just sending it to you. Why? Because they need you to get into that contract with them to acknowledge that you got money. You owe them money. Because they know that you don't owe them any money. So they need you to get in there, sign up, get online, and oh yeah, I owe Navi and I owe Nelnet. I owe Fed Loan Services something. No, you don't. Now, if you are one of those who set up those online accounts and put your information in there, see, all of that stuff is you agreeing to pay them. someone you never sat down and had a meeting of the minds with for anything. So like I was saying, the question is not whether I owe you anything. The question is, who are you to be asking me for money? I don't know you, and I don't owe you a dime. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. You're not a school. Well, I didn't gave y'all I gave y'all the answer right there. All you gotta do is formulate that into a one letter, send it to them, and see how funny they start acting. But if you want to make it easier for yourself, just go to AkeemL.com. I already got the letter there. Use it. All right, y'all, I'm about to get off. I think I did enough talking. Sorry about the muting for 5 minutes. But see y'all guys in Atlanta on the 21st of this month. This is gonna be a busy month. I gotta go to Atlanta, then I gotta go to what is that? Champaign, Illinois. It's gonna be one of those months. Gonna be rolling. Somebody put, it is most times people say that you need to move in a room with the Lord. Yes, the room I'm referring to is this 3D realm we call Earth. Got you, brother. The recording of the webinar we just did on Saturday, I'll get it together and have it up there before the end of the week. But with that being said, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. Peace. See, this is scripture. How can you take the straw out of your brother's eye when you have a raft in yours? Now, if you understand what that scripture is saying, that means that on one hand, I cannot fix anyone because I got a big old blockage in my vision. And my blockage is I'm still trying to get it right for myself. I can't see around my own issues. So any information I'm giving you is going to be incomplete. It's not going to be consistent with what you need. That's why I always say the best answer I can give you, go within. Study the words yourself. Read things yourself to kind of give you enhancement. I read stuff like Reverend Ike stuff to remind me of my power. Because sometimes I'll forget. I'll get lost. And stuff like this bring me back. I'll read these things over and over again. I'll listen to the same recordings over and over again.